The emergency klaxon screamed through the Cravathi warship Dominion's fang, their piercing wail sending every warrior scrambling to battle stations. But this wasn't an attack. This was worse. The Alpha's heir was missing. Vorn, pack leader and commander of the vessel's security cohort, felt his blood run cold as the report crackled through his comm unit. His ears flattened against his skull, fangs baring instinctively. The pup, barely 3 cycles old with fur still soft as moonlight, had vanished from the nursery chamber. In Cravathi culture, such a failure was unthinkable, disgraceful, potentially fatal for those responsible. Seal all sections, Vorn snarled into the communicator, his massive frame already moving through the corridors with predatory grace. No one enters or leaves their quadrant until the heir is found. The Dominion's fang housed over 300 crew members, most of them Cravathi warriors bred for conquest and dominance. But there was one outsider aboard, a curiosity the Alpha had permitted as part of the recent treaty negotiations. A human. Terra, she called herself. Vorn had never trusted her. Humans were weak, their bodies fragile and slow. They lacked proper claws, adequate fangs, decent hearing. Yet somehow these bizarre creatures had fought the Cravathi Empire to a standstill, forcing the proud warrior race to the negotiating table for the first time in 12 generations. It defied all logic. As Vorn's search team swept through the lower decks, he found himself approaching the human quarters. Protocol demanded he search every section. He keyed in his command override, and the door hissed open. The scene before him froze every muscle in his body. There, in the center of the modest chamber, sat Tara on the floor, her back against her bunk. She was reading something on a datapad, completely at ease. A cup of that bitter brown liquid human seemed addicted to steaming beside her. But that wasn't what stopped Vorn cold. Curled up on her boots, those heavy, worn human boots she always wore, was the heir. The tiny Cravathi pup was fast asleep, tiny paws twitching in dreams, soft snores emerging from its small snout. Its silver fur rose and fell with each peaceful breath, and it had somehow wedged itself between Terra's boots as though they were the safest fortress in the galaxy. Vorn's hand went to his weapon. Human, step away from the heir now. Terra looked up, and to Vorn's absolute fury she smiled. Oh, hey Vorn, I was wondering when you'd check here. Could you maybe not yell? The little one just fell asleep about 10 minutes ago. You dare, Vorn began, his voice a low growl. Shh. Terra put a finger to her lips. Seriously, keep it down. Do you know how long it took to calm her down? She was crying her little heart out. Vorn stepped into the room, his claws extending involuntarily. Explain now, how did the heir come to be in your quarters? Terra set down her datapad and carefully shifted her position without disturbing the sleeping pup. About an hour ago, I heard scratching at my door. Opened it, and there she was, tears streaming down her fuzzy little face, making these heartbreaking whimpering sounds. What was I supposed to do? Leave her in the hallway? You should have reported it immediately. To who? The same people who lost track of her in the first place. Terra's voice carried an edge now. Look, I don't know much about Cravathi pups, but I know scared when I see it. She was terrified, Vorn, running from something or someone. Vorn's tactical mind processed this. The pup had fled. But from what? The nursery was the most secure location on the ship. Unless the new caretaker, Vorn muttered, his mind racing. She replaced the previous one just yesterday. We didn't complete the full background verification. Tara nodded. That tracks. When I picked her up, gently before you freak out, she kept looking back down the corridor, scared out of her mind. So I brought her in here, sat down, and just let her calm down. And she chose your boots to sleep on. Vorn couldn't keep the disbelief from his voice. A soft laugh escaped Tara. Yeah, weird, right? I think she likes the smell. Leather and earth, maybe? Reminds me of when my niece was little. She had this ratty old blanket she wouldn't let go of. Smelled like fabric softener at home. Security blanket, we call it. Vorn stared at this strange, soft human who had somehow accomplished what an entire warship's worth of trained warriors could not. The heir wasn't just found, she was safe, content, peaceful. How did you know what to do? He asked finally, his voice quieter now. Tara shrugged. Kids are kids, Vorn. Doesn't matter if they've got fur or skin. When they're scared, they need to feel safe, warm, protected. I just sat here and hummed some old Earth songs, stroked her head a little when she seemed okay with it. Eventually, she crawled over to my boots, curled up, and passed out. Vorn slowly lowered himself to one knee, studying the sleeping Heir more closely. The pup's breathing was steady, her small face relaxed. There were no signs of distress, no indication of harm. In fact, she looked more peaceful than he'd ever seen her. "The caretaker will be detained and questioned," Vorn said. "The Alpha will want a full report." "Good. And maybe next time finish those background checks before putting someone in charge of your future leader." Vorn's ears twitched, the Cravathi equivalent of a wince. The human was right, and they both knew it. He stood slowly, then reached for his communicator. "This is Pack Leader Vorn. The Heir has been located and is safe. Stand down the alert." The relief in the responses was palpable, but Vorn cut them short. "Security detail to Section 7 human quarters." Silent approach. "The Heir is sleeping." Tara raised an eyebrow. "You're bringing guards?" "For the caretaker's arrest, and to ensure the Heir's safe return to the Alpha." He paused, something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. "The Alpha will want to thank you personally, human." "Tara," she corrected gently. "My name is Tara." "Tara," Vorn repeated, the name strange on his tongue. "You have done the Empire a great service today." She waved it off. "I just sat here while a scared kid slept on my boots." Not exactly heroic, but as Vorn watched the tiny Heir sleep peacefully on those battered human boots, he understood something his entire warrior culture had missed. Humans weren't weak because they lacked claws or fangs. They were strong because they didn't need them. Their strength came from something far more dangerous: compassion, ingenuity, and an unshakable instinct to protect the vulnerable. The Cravathi Empire had fought humans across a dozen star systems and learned to fear their weapons, their tactics, their stubborn refusal to surrender. But watching Tara gently stroke the Heir's soft fur as the medical team arrived, Vorn realized they'd been fearing the wrong thing all along. The most dangerous thing about humans wasn't their capacity for violence, it was their capacity for kindness. And in that moment, sitting in a modest chamber watching the Heir of the Cravathi Empire sleep peacefully on a human's boots, Vorn understood exactly why the war had ended in a treaty instead of conquest. Some forces in the universe couldn't be defeated by tooth or claw. Some could only be joined.